These nuns don't seem like perfect religious people because they often do things in church that aren't expected of them. Due to their behavior, they seduce the men who frequently go to the monastery for different reasons and spend time with them. The strange thing is that when they commit all these sins in the church, no one suspects them because they do it carefully. Hello, my dear family. Peace be with you. Today I have brought you the most popular movie called Virgin Territory, which was released in 2007. My family, please help us by liking the video. Without wasting time, let's go to the movie.
Yes!
The movie opens with a scene of a man painting in the church. He informs us that he has been painting for an extended period, yet he has not received any financial compensation. He goes to the church father to request money, but upon arrival, he discovers that the father has passed away from a disease known as the plague. Upon realizing this, he feels very disappointed as he will no longer receive his money. Then he sees his father's dress there and puts it on. He chooses to become a father because a father lacks for neither financial resources nor respect. On the other hand, Lorenzo is seen fleeing in fear of Gerbino, ultimately managing to evade him. He then instructs his companions to capture Lorenzo at all costs. Subsequently, Lorenzo's friends present him with a horse and advise him to depart from the city, to which Lorenzo complies. Subsequently, we observe a girl named Pampania in tears, warning the recent loss of her parents due to the plague. At that moment, Gerbino arrives and expresses his sympathy, inquiring about her next steps. Pampania informs him that the King of Russia is expected to arrive shortly and that she is to marry him. Hearing Gerbino inform Pampania that your father incurred excessive debt from me, and now, following his passing, all of your property has been transferred to me. Therefore, if you wish to preserve this house, you must marry me. Conversely, Lorenzo is observed running, with Gerbino's guards in pursuit. Meanwhile, he observes a man who is mute and deaf. The man informs Lorenzo that he previously worked as a gardener in the vicinity, but he has since ceased his employment there. He believes that if he becomes mute and deaf, he will go there to pursue a career as a gardener. Then he can get the job and be saved from Gerbino's guards. Then he climbs a tree. However, the tree branch soon breaks, causing Lorenzo to fall and faint. Then some nuns approached him and led him to the church, which was just where they needed a gardener. The two nuns then began to tease Lorenzo by rendering her asleep. Right now, Lorenzo woke up, but he still doesn't respond. Then the head nun comes, and the nuns tell her that this man can't speak or hear. They hire him to work as a gardener. Soon after, while Lorenzo was taking a bath, two nuns came in and joined him. This shows why the nuns wanted a gardener who couldn't hear or speak for this job. So, if those people tried to do something to him, he wouldn't know about it and couldn't tell anyone. Pampania is in a church with her friends and their boyfriends. Here, Pampania tells them that she has another house in the city and plans to marry the King of Russia there. Pampania welcomes everyone to come and visit. At that time, Gerbino shows up and asks about Pampania. Pampania makes up a story saying they were just praying because the King of Russia was going to visit soon. She shows that she doesn't want to be with Gerbino and thinks of a way to stay at the church. But it was the same church where Lorenzo worked as a gardener. Then, the other friends of Pampania go to her house. In the church, while two nuns were getting ready for Pampania, she saw Lorenzo. The nuns smiled and said that he works here as a gardener and that he can't hear. After a little while, when a nun was taking Lorenzo into the woods by himself, Pampania saw them and understood what was going on. At the same time, it was clear that Pampania was feeling very jealous when he saw this. King Jasinski arrives at the palace, and Gerbino tells him that Pampania is going to marry him. Knowing this, Jasinski walks away mad. A man outside tells him that Pampania is waiting for him at a different place in the city. Then, Georginsky leaves with his friends to see her. On the other hand, while Lorenzo was in his room, two nuns brought him some food. Actually, they knew that this is how the other nuns had treated Lorenzo, and that none planned to do the same to her. However, Lorenzo agrees. The next day, while Pampania was getting hot water for Lorenzo with two nuns, she told them that what they were doing to help Lorenzo was wrong. In reply, the nun says that there's nothing wrong with that. It's just a feeling of jealousy you have. Pampania gets really mad and splashes hot water right on Lorenzo's head. From this observation, it's clear that Pampania has started to have feelings for Lorenzo. While Jasinski was heading to meet Pampania, Gerbino and his guards started to attack him. In the attack, all of Jasinski's friends are killed, but he manages to escape. On the other hand, Pampania was beginning to like Lorenzo more and more. One day, she heard him sing a song. Then she understands that she can hear, but she isn't very clever. One day, she goes alone to feed Lorenzo. She has hidden her face, so Lorenzo can't see which nun she is. Pampania covered his eyes with a blindfold, gave him a kiss, and then walked away. Lorenzo really enjoyed this. After a few days, Pampania is ready to go. Before she leaves, she tells the head nun that Lorenzo is her deaf friend. He has been acting the whole time. Pampania didn't want Lorenzo to be with any other nun, so that's why she behaved like that. When she was told, the head nun quickly fired Lorenzo. Then Lorenzo was placed outside. At that time, Pampania goes by. Lorenzo asks Pampania to go with him, and Pampania agrees. On the other hand, Jasinski sees a girl underwater. He starts talking to her and tells her that he wants to marry a girl named Pampania. When she heard this, the girl lied and said that she was Pampania. Since Jasinski had never met Pampania before, he believes what she says and also cares for her a lot. On the other hand, Lorenzo and Pampania arrive at his home and start talking. Lorenzo shares how much he loves the girl who had covered his eyes that day and says he wants to marry her. Pampania asks how you would recognize her if you've never seen her face. Lorenzo says he will find her no matter what and marry her. Pampania says that if you kiss someone else, you might forget her. But if you're not sure about your feelings, you can kiss me to help you find out. Pampania wanted Lorenzo to find out that he had been wearing a blindfold that day. Lorenzo was getting close to Pampania. At that time, Gerbino shows up with his guards. When Lorenzo sees him, he talks about starting a fight, but when they begin to clash, he finds it hard to keep up with Gerbino. Pampania steps in before Gerbino can hurt Lorenzo and says that if anything happens to him, she won't go through with the wedding. When Gerbino hears this, he decides not to kill Lorenzo. After a while, Pampania realizes that Gerbino might kill Lorenzo anytime. So, she tells Gerbino to get married right away. At the same time, she tells him that after they get married, he will have to leave Lorenzo. Gerbino thinks about the bet and sends 2 of his guards to call his father. This is the same dishonest father we saw at the beginning. Later, when the father came and talked to Pampania, Pampania gave the father some money and warned him not to go ahead with the marriage. He delays the wedding for as long as he can, and the father agrees to wait in return for money. Pampania and Gerbino start their marriage. At Pampania's request, the father starts delaying the marriage, which makes Gerbino very angry. He uses the sword to scare the father and asks them to get married quickly. Afraid, the father starts to agree. Then Jasinski comes closer, and Gerbino runs away when he sees the gun in his hand. At the same time, Lorenzo shows up, and they both kill all of Gerbino's guards. In the end, Jasinski and Gerbino fight by themselves. Gerbino drops his sword and can't stand up against Jasinski. At that time, Lorenzo asks Gerbino to fight with him. Jasinski tells Lorenzo that I will kill him if you can't do it. Gerbino then starts to stand by the well and fight with Lorenzo. But Gerbino falls into the well during the fight and dies. After all this, Pampania shows up and tells Jasinski that she loves Lorenzo and can't marry him. Jasinski tells Pampania, "You are not the Pampania I met by the lake, and I want to marry the same Pampania after he has seen her face." At the same time, the girl from the lake comes up from behind. But we find out that the girl is really Melissa, who is Pampania's friend. Jasinski is very happy to see Melissa because he really cares for her. Pampania then looks at Lorenzo and asks him to marry her. Lorenzo says he wants to marry the same girl who covered his eyes that day. After hearing this, Pampania asks Lorenzo to kiss her. He understands when Lorenzo kisses her. The girl we are talking about is Pampania, the one who had put a blindfold on him that day, and he agrees to marry her. The movie ends here. Please don't forget to like and subscribe our channel. Thank you.